welcome to my channel. My name is Erica, and this video is episode 3 of my makeup and artist series I do here on my channel. I'm trying to do them monthly. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to get this filmed and up by the end of the month. I am just squeaking it in here. And this video, as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title, is about New Edition, which is one of my absolute favorite groups of all time. I grew up listening to New Edition, loved their music, loved them, and I still love New Edition. I just think that they are the quintessential boy band and the first real boy band, like the template that formed New Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, all of that. I believe that they started that whole thing. I know that some people will say that like the Beatles or maybe Jackson 5 were the first boy band, but in my mind, New Edition is that. Now, I am going to be putting an eye look together. I do have both brows done and both eyelids are primed in the P. Louise eyeshadow base in Rumor 01. I struggled a little bit with picking a palette for this video because I don't know, I wasn't sure which one to pull in. And I want to be honest with you guys. I did film this video yesterday and I was having a very emotional morning. So I was kind of all over the place with giving you guys the facts about New Edition. And my eye look went to crap very quickly. Well, not very quickly. I got the whole eye look put together. It was really nice. And then basically I picked up my purple liquid liner that was broken that I thought I'd fixed. Well, it's broken again. So I put the liquid liner on and it just blew up all over my eyelid. And I was already having an emotional morning. And so I just kind of crumbled. I was like, no. No. You know, some days just are not the day for me to film. So anyway, what palette am I going to be using? Get to it, Erica. This is the Jewels palette from Saints, Angels, Sinners. And the reason why I chose this palette is because it's newer in my collection. I just received this in PR from the brand owner. But I also feel like New Edition are the jewels of the boy band era. You know, they are the jewels. So this is the color story. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have played with a few of these shades. A couple of them little flakier than I had anticipated. This one here called turquoise and this one here called opal. They're beautiful shades, but you just have to pay really close attention to how you're applying them. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys a lot of facts, obviously, in this video and that they make sense. In my last video, they did not make sense at all. So I think what I'm going to do for this look today is I'm going to focus on the purple shades on my lids and then green on my lower lash lines. I thought that would be fun. And I think I know what shades I'm going to be using for this look today, I'm pretty sure. But I'm so excited. Shawnee, Smiley Shawnee, she did a multiple looks video with this palette. I will link her video in my description box. Go check it out because she created the most beautiful looks with this palette. Oh my gosh. So if you didn't watch it, do yourself a huge favor and go watch it. So I'm going to start putting my look together and talking to you guys about New Edition. And I'm going to be expressing a ton of love for this group because like I said, I love them. I love them. So I'm going to start off with this shade right here called Lapis and put that in my transition creasy area. New Edition was formed in 1978 by Bobby Brown. And I'm sure most of you know who Bobby Brown is. I would hope you do anyway. And he grew up in the Roxbury projects in Boston, Massachusetts. And so he grabbed 4 of his other friends who were very talented musicians and singers and dancers. The other 4 members are Ralph Tresvant, Ronnie DeVoe, Ricky Bell, and Michael Bivins. And they just started, you know, practicing together, singing, dancing, you know, all kinds of stuff, just basically like in their neighborhood, in their homes and out at the park and things like that. And New Edition, the name, came from kind of like a play on the Jackson 5, like the new edition of the Jackson 5, which I didn't know that. I thought that was really cool. Now in 1982 was when they had their first like public performance. They went down to the Boston Strand Theater. They had like a talent night and they performed. Now first prize was $500. They did not win first place. They won second place, which shocks me. I'd like to know who won first place in that event. But the cool thing is that at that talent event that night, there was a very prominent musical producer named Maurice Starr that was watching the talent night and was blown away by New Edition. And the very next day, he took all 5 of them down to his studio and they recorded their very first album, which was Candy Girl. And that had the songs Popcorn Love and Is This the End? And that album went to #1 on the R&B charts in the United States. And also, I think it was #1 on the UK singles chart. I think, not the entire album, but I think one of the songs. I think it was Popcorn Love. And so, here they are, finally getting success. And yes, let's go. They sign a contract with Maurice Starr and they start touring. They go on a concert tour. And it was wonderful. They're super excited. They're young men, the early teens at this point, and they're just, having a great time. They're finally discovered and woohoo. However, when they got home from that initial concert tour, they were each given a check for $1.87. $1.87. Now, Maurice, the producer, his excuse for the dismal paychecks that they were given was that he needed to use the money that they were making to pay for the venues, the tour bus, all the different things that go into a concert tour, costumes and whatever. And so he just didn't have enough to pay them. And they were like, okay, how are we supposed to live on $1.87 and put in all this blood, sweat, and tears performing and leaving our families and doing all this stuff? I mean, that's ridiculous, obviously. I mean, hello. So they got lawyers and they sued Maurice Starr and they won. They were able to get out of their contract with him and they were able to recoup some of the profits that they had made. Now, the really awful part of this whole situation is that not long after they cut ties with Maurice Starr formed New Kids on the Block. And they were much more successful, lucratively, if that's even a word, than New Edition was. So here we have these young Black men who have been completely chewed up and spit out by this guy, but their white counterparts are having a completely different experience with this producer. So that was really upsetting. I had no idea that had happened to them. I couldn't believe that. It really made me angry to find that out because, I'm sorry. I know this is probably not what everybody else thinks, but I think New Edition is so much more talented than New Kids on the Block. I did like New Kids on the Block. Yes, I did. But would much prefer to listen to New Edition than New Kids on the Block. Absolutely, no question. So now I'm gonna go into this shade right here called Amethyst and just deepen up the crease with that. New Edition had gained, quite a bit of popularity and notice amongst the music industry. So MCA Records actually picked them up and offered them and gave them a much more lucrative contract initially. That's what they were led to believe initially. And I'll get into more of that as I talk here. And they did release their second self-titled album, which had Cool It Now on it, which is one of my favorite New Edition songs in the entire world, and Mr. Telephone Man. Now, Cool It Now went to the top 5 of the US singles chart, and Mr. Telephone Man was in the top 20 US singles chart. And those were the songs that I really discovered New Edition through. You know what I mean? That's how I first really started getting into the group. And I just fell in love with all of them. And also just with their music. I just thought they were absolutely amazing. And they were being featured in the teeny bop magazines like Tiger Beat or Teen Beat or whatever. So I had pictures of them all over my walls. It was New Edition, Michael Jackson, and Prince all over my walls. And that album went certified double platinum. Yeah, woohoo. Now, the crappy part here again is that even though they did have a decent contract, really good contract with MCA Records, there was a parent company called Jump and Shoot Records that was overseeing their contract with MCA. And they were not giving the members of New Edition the profits that they said they were going to give them, that MCA had, told them that they would receive. So they really wanted to get out from under Jump and Shoot Records. So what they did is they borrowed $100,000 per person, per member of the group, and gave that, paid off Jump and Shoot Records with that. However, now they owe that money to MCA Records. So the first quite a long time of their career with MCA Records, they had to pay that debt off with their profits that they were making from their albums and their concert tours and things like that. So once again, here they are in this crappy financial situation, and I feel being totally taken advantage of. I mean, they were young men, you know. I don't know, very, very strange. I mean, this was all news to me. I had no idea that this is what they had experienced when they first started their group. No idea. Now in 1985, they released their third album called All for Love. And that's one of my favorite New Edition albums. And that had the songs, A Little Bit of Love Is All It Takes, Count Me Out, and With You All the Way. And, you know, at that point, they kind of had more of like a bubblegum pop sound to them, you know. But they're just such fun songs and such great lyrics, and they were so fun to like dance to. And I can remember roller skating at the roller skating rink to that album. I mean, all of us would just beg the like teenage kids that were running the music to play New Edition. Will you please play the album All for Love? Please play the whole thing. Don't just play a couple songs, play the whole thing. I also can remember like playing basketball out in the driveway with my boombox, listening to that tape. You know, just thinking I was the coolest person on the planet because I love New Edition. And at that point is when I developed my huge crush on Ronnie DeVoe. Ronnie DeVoe and Ralph Tresvant were the two members of the group that I had the biggest crushes on. Oh, I just thought they were so cute. So cute. And I just have a lot of really fond memories of listening to the self-titled album with Cool It Now on it and Mr. Telephone Man, and also the third album, the All for Love album. I mean, just amazing memories of both of those albums. They were so great, and my friends loved them. You know, they were the shiz back then. Now I want to deepen up the outer V, and I'm going to go into this shade here called Garnet. It's kind of like a reddish purple shade, and use that. Now the success of that third album, All for Love, led to a guest appearance on the 1985 movie Crush Groove, and they performed the song My Secret, you know, as themselves. And I have not seen Crush Groove in years. I kind of forgot about that movie, which surprises me. And so my goal in the next little while here is to track down Crush Groove and watch it. Such a great movie. Also that same year, in 1985, they released a holiday album, and then they also redid a bunch of 50s songs and released that album too. And I do remember that album. I don't think I owned the album. I think one of my friends or maybe my cousin had that album, and we would listen to that often too. I just, for whatever reason, never had that album, but that was really fun to listen to their versions of those 50 songs. Now in 1986, Bobby Brown decided to leave the group and pursue a solo career. And one of the main reasons for that is that there was a lot of jealousy in that group, because Bobby Brown felt like, you know, he had formed the group, he should be the front man of the group. But Ralph Tresvant had an amazing singing voice. I mean, they all had amazing singing voices, but a lot of the songs that they were singing were featuring Ralph as the lead singer of, you know, like the majority of their songs. And Bobby Brown was pissed. He was not happy about that at all. And, you know, there was a lot of infighting and just, I don't know, backbiting and just jealousy, rivalries. So yeah, Bobby Brown left the group and decided to pursue his single career. Now the four of the remaining members, Ricky, Ralph, Ronnie, and Michael, they actually did a version of Earth Angel, and that was featured in the 1986 movie Karate Kid 2. And I can remember that. I can remember being in the theater and that song coming on and me shouting out, "That's New Edition!" in the theater. And my dad's like, "Would you calm down? Calm down. You're going to get us kicked out of here." But I was like, so excited that a New Edition song was in that movie. It was so great. I didn't really care about the Peter Cetera song that was in that movie, whatever it was called. I was just so thrilled that Earth Angel by New Edition was in that movie. I was so excited. Okay, so now for the shimmer shades. I think what I'm gonna do is start off with this shade right here called Aquamarine, and put that right here because I wanna have some like kind of bluey purple in there. And then I'm trying to decide if I wanna use Tanzanite or Alexandrite next to that. But let's start off with Aquamarine. Like I said, I'm going to put that towards the latter half of the lid. So for a while, they had just considered staying a foursome and not having a fifth member of the group. But they just felt like a fifth member of the group made the most sense. That's what people were used to, is seeing them as a five-some. So they started interviewing people, or like, not interviewing, auditioning people to join the group. Oh, that is gorgeous. Oh, that is so beautiful. Yes, I'm so glad I chose this shade. This is lovely. Oh, it's like bluey, purpley. Lovely. And so here comes Johnny Gill. Anyway, I'll get to that here in just a minute. He has such a beautiful voice, just very sexy, very sultry R&B voice, just perfect. Now, he is the only member of the group that is not from Boston. He is from Washington, D.C. And he just fit right in. You know, he was exactly what they were looking for. They were super stoked to have Johnny Gill in the group. So in 1988, the summer of 1988, they release the album Heartbreak. Okay. Now, I knew that album was coming out. I knew that Johnny Gill had joined the group. I knew that Bobby Brown had gone on to his own solo career or whatever. And I really wasn't sure what to expect with the new album. Okay, I wasn't sure at all. Now, I had just started going to a new high school. I had moved, my parents got divorced, I'd moved to a new high school, and I was just starting to develop some really great friendships with a group of girls. And one girl in particular, Jennifer, she and I were like thick as thieves, you know, really close friends. She loved New Edition as well. Okay, so we have made arrangements to go to the high school football game. And her older sister was going to come pick me up and pick up a couple of our other friends and take us to the football game. So they pick me up, we're cruising around to go pick up our other friends, and her older sister says, oh, I got a new tape. Let me pop it in for you so we can listen to it. I'm like, okay. She pops it in, and the song If It Isn't Love comes on. And I'm like, you got the new edition tape? And she's like, yes. And I forced her to drive us around for like probably 30 minutes, maybe even longer than that. Actually, I'm gonna go lift my finger so that I could listen to the new edition tape. I was so freaking excited. Oh, and I just fell in love with it. Fell in love with the tape. It had Any Heartbreak on there, which is probably my favorite song that they've ever done. Crucial, You're Not My Kind of Girl, and Will You Stand, or Can You Stand the Rain? What's it called? Yeah, Can You Stand the Rain? So yeah, had to have the tape. So the following morning, I get up super early as soon as the mall opens, hop on my bike, and I ride down to Sam Goody, and I pick up 2 copies of the New Edition Heartbreak tape. I'm getting a ton of fallout down here, but that's okay, I'll clean that up. And I was just over the moon to have this tape. You know what I mean? I was just so excited. And I just listened to it constantly. And yeah, I just thought, man, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, that album was their most successful album to date, and it went certified double platinum in the United States. And that really like launched them into the stratosphere in terms of music. I mean, they were already very popular, but that really kicked them up a notch. And they had started being produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who were, you know, very, very popular and very successful and amazing producers. They produced like, oh, I don't know, Janet Jackson, I think Michael Jackson, all kinds of R&B acts. You know, they were really popular. And so, and their sound changed too. The New Edition sound changed with that album too. It was less bubblegum pop and more like, I don't know, just more mature sound. You know, they were like, I don't know, just kind of getting into their own sound. You know, it wasn't so much the poppy boop-a-dap-a-doo. It was like real, like, you know, R&B, sexy. There was some rap, you know, all that stuff. It was wonderful. Now I'm going to go into, I think I'm going to go to this shade here called Tanzanite and put that towards the front there. Let me grab a different brush. Now, the interesting thing about the tour that they went on for that album, the Heartbreak album, is that Bobby Brown actually opened for them in several cities, and so did Al B. Sure. Have you guys ever heard of Al B. Sure? Oh, I loved him too. Loved him too. And so I guess at that point, you know, they kind of put their rivalries aside, and, you know, Bobby Brown, like I mentioned, opened for them and stuff. And, you know, that was really successful for all of them. And yeah, it was great. You know, everything worked out really well. They did stay together for a while, you know, and went on a really long tour of that album. But in 1990 is when the other members of the group felt like they needed to also pursue their solo careers, because Bobby Brown's solo career was very successful. He released Don't Be Cruel. That was the first album that he released, which was super successful. People loved that. You know, I loved it. Let's see, he had another album, I can't remember the name of it, but it had Every Little Step. Or did Don't Be Cruel have Every Little Step on it? I don't know, but I loved that album. And when I was a senior in high school and I tried out for dance team, we had to make up our own dance. And I made my dance up to Every Little Step by Bobby Brown because I just loved it so much. So here we have Ricky, Ronnie, and Michael as Belle Biv DeVoe, and they released the album Poison in 1990, which one of my favorite albums ever in this world. It had the song Poison on it, of course. It also had I Thought It Was Me and Let Me Know Something and Do Me. I love those songs. Used to listen to that album constantly. Ralph Tresvant went on his own and released his own self-titled album, and that had Sensitivity, which is one of my favorite songs ever, and also Stone Cold Gentleman. Such great songs. I mean, the whole album was good, but those were the most popular songs on it. And then Johnny Gill, he released his own self-titled album that had Rub You the Right Way on it. That is one of my favorite songs of all time. I love listening to that. I listen to that all the time. I listen to all of their music still, all the time. Such a great, great album. And his voice is so sexy. And of course, I had a huge crush on him too. Yes, I did. My God. And so that also had My on it too. That's another really great song of Johnny Gill's. And I'm loving these shades together. So in 1996, they decided to all reunite, all 6 members of the group. Bobby Brown came back into the group, and they thought, let's go ahead and let's do an album together. You know, they'd gained so much success on their own, and you know, I think they kind of felt like the jealousies and the rivalries were over, and you know, let's do this again. Let's get back together again, and let's create an album and go on tour. Great. So they do create an album. It's called Home Again. And that had the songs Hit Me Off and I'm Still in Love with You, which I love that album too. Such a great album. And they went on tour. Well, that didn't go as well as they had planned, because the rivalries and the infighting and the backbiting and all that stuff was still happening. And so at one point on their concert tour, they were in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I guess before the concert started, Bobby and Ronnie were just at each other's throats, okay? Just fighting and I don't know. And during the concert, Ronnie got so angry with Bobby that he like grabbed a hold of Bobby and drug him off stage, and the two of them started like fist fighting to the point where security had to get involved and break it up. And at that point, you know, it was like, okay, now what do we do? So Bobby and Michael Bivins actually both left the tour at that point. They're like, no, I'm out of here. I think Bobby was actually asked to leave the tour, honestly. So that was the end of that. The other members of the group, though, did finish out the tour. They did finish that all the way out. But yeah, that tour did not go well at all. So now for the lower lash lines. I did pop a little bit of my Kill Cover Pro Artist Liquid Shading Concealer on that I got from Stylevana down here. And I'm going to start off with my lower water lines. I'm going to use the Beauty Creations Gel Liner in Shamrock. I'm putting green on my lower lash lines. We'll see how this goes. So, you know, they just kind of continued to do solo projects after that miserable tour that they had. I mean, you know, I think the tour was successful, but, you know, they just didn't all finish the tour out together. And, you know, they still continue to be in touch with each other and things like that. And actually, at the end of 2022, they reunited. And they were on the Dick Clark's, well, it's not Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve anymore, Ryan Seacrest Rockin' Eve, I don't know. They performed together there, all 6 members of New Edition. And I absolutely came out of my skin. And I mean, came out of my skin when I was sitting on the couch, eating Milk Duds or whatever I was eating, and here comes New Edition to perform on the television set. I was like, because I guess I wasn't paying attention and I didn't realize that they were going to be performing, and I seriously lost my mind. I was like, it's New Edition! My husband's like, take a deep breath, calm down, it'll be okay. So excited. And just so cool to see them all together again, you know? And then in 2023, they did go on tour together. All 6 of them went on tour together. And I didn't hear anything about that not being a good tour. So I'm hoping that went well. My whole goal though was to get tickets to go see them if they were going to be, typically musical acts don't necessarily come to the city that I live in. They come to Portland, which is a couple hours north of where I live. And I didn't look into it enough. So I'm not sure if they came to Portland or not. And I kind of don't want to know if they came to Portland or not because I didn't see them. I've been so bummed out about that. And actually at the end of 2023, in December of 2023, it was announced that New Edition had signed a contract at Encore at Wynn Las Vegas. So they're going to be performing together in Las Vegas at the Wynn Casino, right? Or Wynn Resort from February 28th through March 9th of 2024. And that would be really fun to go to Las Vegas and see them. I would love that. I mean, we probably won't, but I would love to do that. And, you know, I just have to say that they were such, let me grab this brush and go into, is this not clean? I don't know. I'm going to go to this shade here called Peridot. That shade right there that I put on my lids was called Adventurine. Did I say that? I don't think I did. Duh. So let's put this darker green down here, kind of deepen up the lower lash line. But, you know, I just have to say that the New Edition was such a huge part of my childhood into my adolescence and into my adulthood. And I raised my kids on New Edition's music. You know, they're very familiar with New Edition. They know who all the members are. They're also familiar with their solo acts, you know, their solo albums and stuff. They absolutely know all about all of those albums. You know, I owned all of them. I listened to all of them while my kids were growing up. So they grew up loving New Edition and Bobby Brown. And you know, I know that Bobby Brown had some issues in his personal life. I know that. And, you know, the whole situation with he and Whitney Houston. And, you know, I know that Bobby has been through some things. But I've always really respected him as a musician and as a singer and as a dancer, and just always really enjoyed all of the members of New Edition, all of their music. And, you know, just reading about the fact that they got so trampled on at the beginning of their careers, it's just really unfortunate, just awful, because they did not deserve that. And, you know, I just wish that maybe, I don't know, someone else had been maybe looking out for them a little bit better, because they did get totally taken advantage of, you know, horrible, awful. But I'm so happy that they were able to get out of that financial yuck and just continue to make amazing music. And I will say that out of all of the albums that they made that I listened to, Heartbreak is my absolute favorite. It's so good. I'm going to also link a bunch of their songs in my description box. So if you guys aren't really familiar with New Edition, I really believe you should familiarize yourself with them. I will not only link their songs, but I'll also link some of their solo projects or solo songs or whatever in the description box as well. And I really like how this turned out. It's very different, but I like it. I like the purple on the lids and the green on the lower lash lines. So I will go off camera and I'm going to clean some things up, put my face on, my hair, and I will come back. So this is the finished look, and I really like how this look turned out. I'm bummed that the look yesterday turned into such a disaster. That eyeliner, I was so angry. I like threw it into the trash can. I was so mad, and I thought I'd fixed it. Anyway, I got to move on from that. I'll show you the palette again, talk to you about how I felt about the shades that I used, but let me show you just a few things I put on my face for my finished look. On my lips, I used a liquid lipstick from Handan. I got this in a set of, I think, 4 lippies from Temu and some PR. Really like the Handan liquid lipstick formula. Really nice. And I love this shade. And then for my upper liner, upper lid liner, I use the Black Like My Soul felt tip liner from Fatal Beauty. Love this. You guys know I've been using it a ton since I got it. And then for my mascara, I use the Nobu Lash from Nobu Cosmetics again. I love this mascara. So now let's talk about the eyeshadow palette, Jewels from Saints, Angels, Sinners. Man, the tones in here are so beautiful. I had so much fun playing with the shades that I put on my lids today. These two shimmer shades are absolutely gorgeous. I put this in my inner corners. This is called Rhodonite, and it looks white in the pan, but it's got this really pretty lime green shift to it, and that's really fun in my inner corners. Love these two on my lower lash lines, and I loved these two mattes, and then this one here that I put on my lids, and along with the shimmer shades I chose. Really fun. I will be filming with this again on my channel. And really, you guys need to go check out Shawnee's video where she does the multiple looks with this palette. They are just gorgeous. This palette was made for Shawnee, absolutely. But I had a lot of fun with it today. This shade right here too is absolutely gorgeous, this emerald shade. So yeah, I will be filming with it again. Love it. And I want to know if you guys love New Edition as much as I do. If you grew up listening to New Edition like I did, who is your favorite member of the group? I also really enjoyed all of their solo projects, Belle Biv DeVoe too, you know, the trio. That was so fun. Just such great music. I still listen to their music all the time. And I encourage you guys, if you're not familiar with them, I'm gonna link there's tons of their songs in the description box, as many as I can. Go listen to them and see what you think, because they're really fun. And you can definitely tell a difference in their sound from when they first got started. You know, very bubblegum pop, very like kind of cutesy music. And then as they mature, their music does mature along with them. Really fun. And just the best music to dance to. New Edition, Bobby Brown, Belle Biv DeVoe, Ralph Tresvant, Johnny Gill, all of them. You know, you can just really get down to their music. And some of those songs are baby making music. I'm telling you right now, absolutely. So episode 4 will be coming next month. I'm pretty sure I know who I'm going to cover. I'm pretty sure, and I think that's going to be really fun. But yeah, let's spread the love. Let's share the love for New Edition in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your life to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.